Hey there, welcome to Coffee with Connie. I'm Connie Fuksa, and I am here and super excited to talk to you about things that have to do with real estate, buying a new house, selling your house, refinancing your house, getting a mortgage, going to closing. And I have lots of experience with a lot of these things. I am not a real estate agent and I am not a mortgage professional, but I've been doing closings for a really long time. And so it gives me the opportunity to share all kinds of good information with you. So, I love it when people ask me questions, because the reason that people ask questions is because that means they don't understand something. And my passion is to get you information so you understand the process. This process is so long and confusing, and there's so many pieces to it and so many people involved and so many things that have to be done. And so what I always try to do is give you as much information as possible so that you're equipped to at least ask the right questions. And so this question comes up all the time. And so I really wanted to share. And as a matter of fact, somebody who is in the business, but not in the closing side of it and hasn't been in the business very long, asked me this recently. So I've bought and sold many houses, and, I try to foresee all the things that could happen and try to get all the paperwork together that I'm asked for and try to get it all there really quickly and make sure that there's plenty of time for everybody to review what they need to. And then my closing gets held up, or there's a bunch of things that they need last minute. And why does that happen? So I'm not a mortgage professional and I don't approve loans, but what I do know is that the one thing you have to understand is there just as much information as there is for you to consume. Everybody, even though they know their position and the things that need to happen, there's a lot of people and hands that touch your process. And so in the mortgage side of it, when you originally start working with your mortgage lender, you are providing them this laundry list of information that they request. And then what happens is they have to send it to an underwriter, which is a person that does nothing but scour all of that information and make sure that the loan that they're doing is going to be secure. So you have to realize that the lender is loaning a huge amount of money, and they're loaning it against the security of your house, but they need to make sure that you can afford to repay it, because the last thing they want to do is foreclose on that house and try to recuperate that loan and then have to resell the house, go through all those steps. That's a fail-safe. What they first want to do is make sure that you can afford to make those payments. And so all of this documentation in advance is to make sure that the house is worth the value that they're loaning, but also to make sure that you can afford to make those mortgage payments and that you're gonna make those mortgage payments. So what they do is they have a list that's pretty standard of all the things that they require that should give them the answer to most of those questions. But as they're reviewing all this information, as that underwriter is reviewing all this information, there may be some additional questions. And depending on what time of the year that you buy or how the market is rolling when you're purchasing, may determine if they need additional information from you. And what timing is. It won't determine that they need that information. It'll determine when they actually ask you for it. Because just like in any other industry, they are really cramming this time of the year because it's the summer. Kids are out of school. People want to buy houses. They want to move before their kids go back into school. And so you've got all of this activity going on. And so the people that review all this information are inundated right now. So the appraisers that go out and determine the value of that home you're purchasing, they're inundated. So that takes a couple extra days than it might have if you were doing it in January or February or October or November. The underwriter who's reviewing all that information, they're a lot busier than they normally are. Not necessarily an excuse, but an explanation to understand that sometimes they have so many that they have a level of which ones are going first, so they get reviewed first, that type of thing. The other thing is they're asking for last minute stuff because there may be something that they question, and not anything necessarily about your ability to repay, but maybe there's something about the house that they have a question about, or maybe there's something that they saw in your records that just made them want to ask a question and maybe an additional piece of information. Not necessarily that your information doesn't have everything they need, but every single person has a different nuance. Maybe the way you do your income taxes is a little different than others. Maybe you have your own business and so you have some different reporting types of things. Maybe you have some family situations that you pay taxes a little differently, or you have some expenses that are a little different. Maybe you have rented all your life and you've never owned a property, and so there may be some different things that they have to ask. Maybe you have a home that you kept and that you're renting out, and then you're buying this new home, so there may be some other pieces that they need. So the list that they give you initially is a generic list fairly generic list that they give most people that are buying a house. And then from there, they decipher the other things that may need to be done to determine that you're able to repay that loan. Because ultimately, guys, look at it. The reason you're asking the lender for the money is because you don't have it. It's a big loan. It's a big commitment. And for them, even though they do it a lot, they want to make sure the last thing they need is they don't want to have to chase you for the money. And so they want to make sure that you're going to repay the loan. And so they do a lot of work up front. And so sometimes that causes things to get delayed because they have a lot of loans going on. Maybe they need additional information from you. Maybe it took a little longer to get some of that information because you needed to get something from an employer. You maybe needed something to be signed off on. Those kind of things. Those can hold up being able to process those last minute approvals for the loan. So give the lender some time and understand that that process is pretty involved, and they're trying to get all the information that they can to make sure that you can afford to repay that loan. That way they can do the loan and we can do the closing. So maybe I gave you something to talk about, think about, ask more questions about. We can talk about this a little bit more as the week goes on, because I love coming to you and giving you additional information that maybe helps you understand why some of these processes happen and how they happen. So if you have additional questions, feel free to reach out to me. If you felt like what we talked about was valuable, please hit that share button, because for the next couple of months, those who share the most throughout the month, we're giving this awesome coffee mug. So have a Coffee with Connie coffee mug. Several people already have, as you've seen, have already won them. We would love to have you have it. It's a really cool 20-ounce coffee mug that we'd love to have you have in your possession so you can start sharing your coffee with Connie with your coffee mug. So hit that share button, and remember that people that you're sharing with, they're not people that I have connections with, so they may be people that may be buying or selling a house that this information could help them. So not just the coffee mug, but also you're helping your friends understand a really complicated process. So hopefully you click that share button. Also, if you would go to the website, if you want more information, you can go to our Foot Title Group website and you can download resources on, depending if you're a buyer or seller or a realtor, there's all kinds of resources on there for you to update and get new information. And we do a new flyer each month that's a free download. This month it's reasons why you should get a location survey for the house that you're buying. It's not a mandatory thing, and we explain some of the reasons why it would be really important for you to have that. So go on our website and download that. Thanks so much for tuning in to Coffee with Connie. I'm Connie Fuksa with Foot Title Group, where we protect your home ownership. Hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll talk to you again soon, guys. Bye-bye.